time for Book of Experts TV.
Topics you love.
Experts you trust.
Friction-free referrals.
Tried,
tested,
Trusted.
This is Book of Experts, brought to you by salesman.me.
Welcome back. This is a special edition, a second edition of Book of Experts TV. Today, we did a podcast a little bit earlier. And today, this afternoon, we actually have a guest coming on to talk about using LinkedIn in your first degree connections. So if you're not a LinkedIn user, let me explain that a little bit and why you should care. Your first degree connections, those are the folks that you're actually connected to. Second degree would be friends of a friend, and then it goes third degree from there. But your direct connections, if you're a Facebook user, that's like the people that you've actually friended, you're directly connected to, and you can converse with on LinkedIn. So the topic here is, there's business in that warm network of yours. How do you find it? And with that, without much further ado, I'm going to invite onto the screen Steve Martile, joining us from, you said 4 hours north of Toronto, right? So you're way up north, in the woods. There you go. We were chatting about geography a little bit earlier, and I think being down here in Miami, I'm definitely benefiting from the warmer winters. But Steve, I'm super excited to talk about this topic because LinkedIn is hot. It's trendy. Everyone is recognizing that there's a lot of seismic shifts happening in the social media space, and that playgrounds where people have made a lot of business happen may not be there or may not be true in the future. Things are moving around. Facebook, I'm looking at you, by the way. I'm looking at you, Facebook. You got some problems coming. People are getting frustrated with you. And one of the benefits of this shift has been LinkedIn. A lot of people are focusing their attention on LinkedIn because they see the people that they want to connect with, the people they want to do business with, they're there as well. And so, Steve, I know this is your sweet spot. If you give us a little bit of background, how did you get into this work in the first place, and how did this all begin for you?
It started a long time ago. 2008. And believe it, in 2009, that's when I opened my first LinkedIn account. And the first thing I did was I was just sending invites out and just connecting with people. And I got clients I had a coaching business that I started, and I was like, I was very fortunate. That strategy didn't have a lot of longevity over time, and I'll talk about that if we have time today. But that's kind of how I started. I'm actually a mechanical engineer by trade, and then I decided to quit my job in the 2008 financial crisis and tried to run a business and start a business, but I had no business skills. And anyways, I ended up going back to work because that didn't work out so well for me. But yeah, that was my first kick at the can, and just learning about how to generate business from LinkedIn. And I've never left it. It's a great resource. And right now you're seeing about 2-3% growth a year on LinkedIn still. And I'm surprised it's not even better, larger. But as far as social networks go, I think the last time I checked Business Insider, Business Insider, it said it's the most trusted social network, that's cool. That's good.
And that is a good label to have these days, especially with what's going on. And
yeah,
I think that, numbers aside, we can talk about hundreds of millions of users and all those things. I think there's two things that we know about LinkedIn. One is it is considered the B2B social network. So there will be many social networks, and of course there's business happening on Facebook and on Instagram and Clubhouse and all these other places. But the primary hub of that activity, whether it's at the corporate executive level, the entrepreneurial level, the even employees that are growing and with their organizations, LinkedIn is where a lot of those conversations are happening. And then the other thing is that over 80% of B2B referrals, business to business referrals, are actually coming from LinkedIn as well, which I think is an amazing stat when you think about all the different sources out there. This is where the lion's share of that activity is coming from. So Steve, how do we make that happen? Talk us through, because I think the hook here for a lot of folks is they think they have to go talk to strangers. And
right.
You're saying the business is already there in your warm network.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me qualify this first. So I had a client last year, a construction company, over 9 months, did about $450,000 in business. And this is part of what I'm going to share with you today. I won't go into their strategy, but for today, I want to talk about first degree network. Yeah, like if you got 3,000 people that are in your network that you're probably sitting on, I don't know, 10, 20, $30,000 of business. You might not realize it, but it's there. So what I'll do is, if you can give me a screen share, Tobin, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys. Just let me know when I have it.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you first is how many people on my network. So, and then I'm going to show you what happens once you exhaust all the connections in your network. Okay, so this is Sales Navigator. It's a premium version of LinkedIn. It's a tool I use all the time when we're setting up new client profiles. But the reason I got this on the screen is I wanted to show you. So you can see 9,500 in the top left. That's how many people I have in my first degree network that are in the UK and the US. Okay, first degree connections. Nothing too complicated about that. Now, what we started doing back in December is I started running a little campaign. And so the campaign is, my big thing is be cool to your network. Like give them something cool. You can ask them to jump on a call with you, but be cool to them. So what I did is I said, hey, you can read this if you'd like, but basically it says, hey, Susan, thanks for being connected to me on LinkedIn. I appreciate you, and we need people like you more than ever right now. My name, P.S. My client conversion emails booked 241 calls. I'd like to give you a part of it for being in my network. No webinars, no spending money in Google ads, Facebook ads, no joint ventures, no launches, no writing your own copy, no manual time-consuming tasks, no bots, and risk getting your account shut down. It's free. Get it here. That brings you to this page. It's a landing page. The landing page is an opt-in for my client conversion email. You click the big download now red button, you enter your name, you hit download now, you're in. Once someone does that, they go to the thank you page. On the thank you page, I have a 90-second video. Basically, the video says, thanks for downloading the client conversion email. I'm going to send it to you in a few minutes. In the meantime, you might be interested in my 90-day marketing accelerator program. Click the big yellow button below to learn more. When people click on that, it goes to my offer. And at the end, I've got my pricing, my guarantee, all of it's in it. It's a sales letter. I'm a copywriter by trade. I got a client video review here. But at the very bottom, I have a link to my calendar and someone can book calls. That's how I get clients for my first degree network. That's your 3-minute overview.
You did. You hit all the points. So one of the things that I saw here, Steve, and this, I want you to, I want to underline this, and then you can take us a little bit deeper in the strategy.
Okay.
I often hear people say, meet people on LinkedIn and get the conversation off LinkedIn as soon as possible. Yep. And I want to explain that a little bit more. I have some thoughts about that I want to share, but I'd love to hear your take on that. Why is that true? Because it looks like that's what you're doing here as well, correct?
Take people off LinkedIn?
Yeah, get the conversation off LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I will comment on that by saying there's 3 different ways you can do this. So let me set this up first. So your first degree network, by the way, there's only so many leads in there, right? So let's say that you've got a network of 3,000 people. If you have 3,000 people in your network, you can safely send about 300 of these value-driven messages to your network a day. So if we say 3,000 divided by 300 a day, that's about 10 days or about 2 weeks to message everyone in your network, okay? In this case, I'm bringing them off onto my opt-in off page to my landing page to get on my email list, and then we go from there. But you can do this 3 different ways. 1 is you send them to an opt-in. 2 is you ask for a direct appointment right on LinkedIn. It still works today. I got another SaaS company that wants to talk to me about, can't remember what state they were in the US, but so you can go direct to appointment. I have clients that do direct to appointment. I have a long-term care company that I'm working with. They sell an app. They're kind of like a SaaS company as well. And they go direct to appointment and they get clients from it. So that's another way. You can go direct to appointment, stay on LinkedIn, you go direct to opt-in. Or you can go to Facebook. So I have a client who works with consultants and shows them how to write their own book. And what she does is we were inviting them to her Facebook group. So we're taking them from LinkedIn to their Facebook group. And so she's getting 50 new members a week in her Facebook group. And they're all interested in writing a book. So that's a whole nother funnel. So to me, it's like the funnel doesn't have to be off LinkedIn. It's whatever is going to work for your market. Some people will say, in campaigns that we run where we invite them to a Facebook group, I don't use Facebook. I stay on LinkedIn. That's cool. Direct to appointment. So it's really about the people that you're marketing to is, I guess, the short answer.
Yes. Okay. So what I think I'm going to feed this back. What I believe I heard you say is that when you engage with new people on LinkedIn, they are going to have different preferences of how they want to engage. So Scott Olford used to talk about the SSF method, which is people go fast, slow. I think he called it fast lane, slow lane, or sidewalk. You know, how fast do you want to go through this process? So your Facebook group people are like sidewalk. They need to be nurtured. They want to spend more time with you. They want to see who you are. They really want to get to know you before they're going to decide anything. And so those communities, a Facebook community being one example, would be a place for that kind of nurturing. The person that responded to the message in your PS line, clicked on the link and basically started down the rabbit hole of your funnel to get more value from there. That sounds like a slow lane example. And then the fast lane would be the direct to appointment. I've got a bleeding neck. I have a problem. I'm ready to talk to someone about it right now.
Yeah, so I'll qualify, or I'll comment on what you just said, Tobin. So actually the Facebook funnel is just as much has elements of a sidewalk, or like I got heart surgery right now. I need to get this solved right away. Because you got to remember, when someone goes into a Facebook group, you can message all the members. You can message 25 a day. Well, what do you message to them? The offer, right? The offer that you see on my landing page after the thank you. Someone goes to the offer, they can book a call with me. So they're getting that on email. If you go direct to appointment, that's directly to an offer. And if they go into Facebook and they get that message, like I said, you can message 25 members a day with an offer. Where do you send them? You can send them to your landing page. You can send them directly to the offer, which can be posted and pinned inside the Facebook group. And what I mean by an offer is a call to action to have a call or a strategy call or a sales call with someone with the notion that they're going to buy something. In other words, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I want to do. This is the price. This is the guarantee. All knowing that before they jump on a call. So you can get the speedies on the Facebook as well as the slow people. And like, you're right. You're totally right about nurturing. If you do Facebook Lives once a week inside the Facebook group and you keep creating value and you send offers, it's a great strategy long-term as well. So yeah, I like to make sure that I encompass all the funnels, have every degree of it. The people want to go quick and the people want to go slow.
The process that you described, Steve, of a certain number of messages per day, dividing up the size of your network. If you go through your network with this approach in 2 weeks and you're going to get X number of replies, then what? What are you doing beyond that to build these relationships? Yeah,
great question. So let me show you what I'm doing with clients. So if you want, you can share the screen again.
Got it.
So,
it's there now.
Okay, cool. So what happens is you're going to eventually run out of laneway with your first degree network. You probably get clients from that first initial campaign. But then what do you do after day 10 to get leads coming in? Well, back in March 2020, LinkedIn did something really cool. Ironically, around the same time COVID happened, they allowed you to message every single person inside of groups on LinkedIn, regardless if they're a first, second, or third degree connection. Now that opens up a massive windfall of opportunity, because you can take what's already working with your first degree network and then hit targeted groups with that message to drive them to the funnel, to drive them to your Facebook group, to drive them appointment. And you can do this as long as LinkedIn allows you to message group members. And the last time that they opened this up was back in 2015. And back then, I didn't really realize the power of it. But what I was doing is I was messaging second and third degree connections in groups to build my own groups on LinkedIn. And I grew that group at about 1,000 people a month, which is quite insane. And then they turned it off. And so it was on, and then they turned it off. But right now they opened it up again. And as long as this stays open, this second, third degree messaging is amazing. And one of the things that makes it really, I would say, relevant and makes it really greases the wheel so that you can message people is this. I'm going to show you here. When you get a message from someone, and this is the other thing to really, really think about. And if you're listening or watching this and this is new to you, is I want you to really think about this. When was the last time that you got a cold message from a second or third degree connection. It almost never happens. Okay. So reason that is because the technology that's out there that's available for doing LinkedIn lead generation, that software does not have the capability to message people in groups. And even if it does, which some of them do, it's not it's not country specific, meaning you're messaging people in Malaysia, Philippines, which probably don't have money for your services. So people don't use it. So we partner with a developer that does have that country specific segmenting, and it works amazing. It really is a game changer. One of the really neat things about it is if you do get a message from someone that's offering something or something of value, and it's a second or third degree connection, what LinkedIn has done is at the very top of the message, it says, you are both members of, and then the group name. So it kind of greases the wheel a bit. But at the end of the day, I mean, if people are making money from this and generating leads and, providing value with their services, I think that's the bottom line. That's what's the most important. So that's what you do once you exhaust your first degree network. You got to go to groups. And once you go to groups, like if, for example, I'll just pick a random topic here because I have a woman that I'm talking to that targets women in her marketing. And so I looked up women on LinkedIn, and then I went to groups, as you'll see right here. So I hit groups. After I do search, I'm just searching right in the search queue at the top left of the screen. I hit groups and look at these groups of women leaders, women 2.0. There's got to be at least 100,000 on just the page alone. And so what that does is if you market to women, hello, huge opportunity, right?
So, so the groups, there's been a lot of, pull this off. There we go. There's been a lot of conversation about LinkedIn groups in the community. The group engagement on LinkedIn is down overall from what we've seen in the past when they pulled the engagement out of the news feed.
Yeah.
But you're finding the membership, the affiliation with the groups has been a really good strategy for you to identify right fit because they've chosen to join that group. They've essentially self-selected into a marketing segment, if you want to think of it that way. And you're using the mechanism of being able to talk to them directly, even if they're not in your first degree network, to start those conversations.
Yeah, so I'll answer that question by giving you some data. So if you just do a general search for, number of Americans on LinkedIn, you'll get something like 173 million. But there's a little statistic on Sales Navigator that tells you how many people posted in the last 30 days. And what you're going to see is it's about 1-2% of people. So so why do I bring that up? I use that as a metric of how active people are in the target market when we're doing our marketing campaign. So general numbers, 1-2%. If you go into a group, what you'll see is you'll generally see, even in groups that are like doctors who are really busy or integrative medicine practitioners that are really busy, you'll see 15-16% posted in the last 30 days versus that 1-2%, which means they're on the platform, they're using it. Ideally, when I run a platform or a campaign for a client, I want to see at least 20% of those people in the group who've posted in the last 30 days. Sometimes you'll see as high as 30 or 40%. Again, meaning that there's activity, meaning I'm reading my messages. I'm actually in there using it. So as long as you've got those high numbers, which in groups you generally do, that's a general comment, then it's a great way to market.
Yeah, so I love this because the groups are essentially a signal. If someone has taken the time to join one or more groups, it is a signal that they are more invested in coming back to the platform on a regular basis, because that is the downside of LinkedIn, folks. I mean, it is the B2B social network, but there are a lot of folks that have still treated it like a resume engine. They've got a profile there. They visit once a week, once a month, not very often. It's just not an active part of their day. And then there are other folks that use it multiple times a day in the same way that you see with some of the other really popular and really engaged, Facebook. Again, I'm looking at you, Facebook. So this slippery slope of the social media where you kind of get in there and you engage, and all of a sudden an hour goes by because you're talking to different people. So I like that, the signal of the LinkedIn groups. Have you ever looked at the numbers around people who have premium accounts? So they have paid accounts, and what those numbers might look like as far as the engagement and the recency of posting?
Yeah, unfortunately, Hoban, LinkedIn doesn't give that data. They don't give you premium. Like they'll give you old data. They'll even tell you the revenues because they were once public, but they won't tell you like how those members are active using premium. Like you'd have to go through one by one to get that data. But I mean, I'll just comment a little because you mentioned Facebook twice, and I've been watching them because I've been, I advertise as well on Facebook. I'm not right now. But with the recent Apple changes, with the iOS 14 changes, like with privacy this is the year of privacy, 2021. I sense there's some uncertainty around what's going to happen with the ads, because for iPhone users, Apple's has 63% of their mobile users are iPhone users. So if they're taking away some of the data, the cookies, whatever they're doing, so now Facebook can't track conversions. I don't know what I understand is that they're taking away data from Facebook so that they're not going to be able to give you conversions on like who opted in to a list or who booked a conversation with you through your funnel. That brings a lot of uncertainty in the market. And when I've asked other Facebook experts about, okay, well, what are you doing to plan around this? I have never gotten a good answer. So I'm sticking away from it right now just because I don't know what I don't know. And that's why, luckily, like this opportunity with LinkedIn with the members has really opened up.
Yeah, I think that's the bottom line, Steve. You hit the nail on the head, which is if Facebook has been a primary driver of your business engine, meaning you spend a lot of time there, you've gotten a lot of clients from Facebook. And I have a lot of friends and peers who are in this place. They are now hedging their bets and looking at other, Clubhouse is extremely popular from an audio perspective. Instagram is a Facebook product, but I see people actually getting more active there. Facebook itself, there's a lot of questions that are sort of floating around. No one really knows how this is all going to shake out. And so LinkedIn, I think, has been a big beneficiary, which brought us to our topic today, Steve. You hit the nail on the head. There's business in your warm network. You got to be able to start those conversations. You got to be able to reach out, and Steve has showed us several different ways. That was interesting to see, particularly around the group aspect. I enjoyed seeing and thinking about that because we've had a group. Honestly, we've been less involved even with our own group of late, just because it has felt like a slog trying to get that engagement there. But there are tons and tons of groups that people are members of, and you gave us a great benefit with that, Steve.
So one thing I'll mention is that the other benefit is that because we have access to messaging group members, and it's part of like LinkedIn's philosophy of like being able to connect with people, right? So they've actually policed the invites a lot, because what's happening is a lot of people are getting sold to after they accept an invite, but they're not on the second and third degree connections. They've opened it right up. And so if you're sending 200 a day group messages, which is like, let's say 5 days a week, so that's 4,000 a month, and you want to do this for the entire year, then you need a group with 48,000 of your prospects, and you can do it. So the reality is it gives you that longevity and stability, knowing that like if you get it to convert with your first degree network, and then you go to a similar like group of interest and you maybe tweak it 5%, but it starts to convert for you, start to get calls, you start to get opt-ins, you start to build your Facebook group. This is a fantastic thing that you can do for as long as this option's available. So yeah.
Steve, I appreciate you taking the time today to walk us through this, to talk about where to find clients in your first degree connections, your warm network. Where can folks go to learn more about what you're doing, connect with you, and enter your world, basically?
Yeah, amazing. So a couple places. Obviously, if you can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn, you can send me a direct connection invite and then message me. You can go to my website, freedomeducation.ca. freedomeducation.ca. There's a tab at the top that says work with Steve, and then there's options there. So you can pick whatever option works best for you. I've got free gifts on that website as well. So if you want to opt in, check out some of my email stuff and some of my free content, you can do that too.
And we also have on the screen, and just to remind, we have Steve Martile, it's Martile, stevemartile.com, which you can also use that to basically go and look at, Steve has already sort of walked us through the process. You can experience that firsthand. Steve, I appreciate you taking the time. Again, this is a great topic. A lot of folks are interested trying to figure this out. Now they know they've got a resource in you.
Awesome, man. Great to be here, and thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you.